When did the legal system lose the concept of justice? When did that fall out of the car? When did justice fall out of the car? Did anyone notice, hey, where's justice? We've got all these laws and shit. I thought justice was still with us. Just fell out of the fucking car on the motorway somewhere. Did someone push it out? I bet a judge pushed it out. Anyway, that's an hour, but I think it's highly relevant and it's made me feel better. So I'm going to work on clearing some of this stuff because I can't breathe in here. Just crazy shit in places I've never been. Like there appears to be an offence committed on 140 Sherborne Street. I'm on 100. I wonder if that's... the... Surely that's not their office down there. I mean, I have already recorded that, and I've got the... You know, I've already got quite a lot of evidence about that. But anyway, just places that I've never fucking been, you know, and things that I have never done, and... So I've been adjusting, you know, I've been trying to like do a bit of like, I mean, I'm not a trauma-informed therapist, but there's no way I trust anyone else to lead me through it because everyone else will just abuse me further. And it won't necessarily be with any malice, but it's with ignorance, and it's with pig-headed ignorance where they will argue with me about who I am. And those people are pieces of shit. I don't care if they genuinely think that their method of, I don't know, like, what are they, the gestalt, is that what it is when you challenge people's beliefs? I don't fucking challenge my fucking reality, like... And... this has been a criticism of the family court where, you know, often in a marriage to become involved with women, and now I realise the problem is not that doctors aren't writing letters that are technically legal enough, because that's not their job. Because they need to slot into what the judge or the adjudicators, but I think you need to be recommended, and I don't know what kind of milestones you need to reach. But it's like looking at the outcome going, oh yes, well they did so many cases, but it's just like, well, how did they do those cases? By fucking, you know, curb stomping fucking victims. It's like, oh, how many arrests have been made? Well, it doesn't show that the arrests were legal, you know, like... And I heard something, because I belong to a few... I've had to... Dermatitis back again. Anyway, I just realised that I should record today. What is
is it? 15 March, and it's Friday. Just that I had some reasonably close, well, I was in close proximity with Courtney Brown from Homeward Real Estate. Harcourt's Homeward Property Management, because the police don't know what they're talking about.
Ridiculous, because the judges know that I don't have a criminal history, and yet police are insisting that I have a criminal history, and they fuck around with I think it's called an NIA. It's a national something number, and police do have access to them, but it's very, very, very serious. It's like fucking around with someone's social security number, you know? I mean, for Americans. I think a social security number, it's a bit like an IRD number, but I think it's more than that. Like, I think it's more encompassing. I think it's a bit more like Real Me, where it's like police cannot tinker in your NIA and just add things and subtract things as they like. So this is where the corruption comes in. It's a very, very, very... I don't know if you need any particular security clearance to add things to someone's NIA, but it's right up there. Like, NIAs do not belong to police. I think they belong to probably internal affairs, or, you know, like the GCSB will probably have access to them. You know, constables can't fuck around with those things, and curiosity got the better of me, and I did open the disclosure on my phone. I can't, you know, like, each of my elderly devices has different capacities and at different times, and I wouldn't attempt to open a big PDF on my computer, but, you know, I've got a little screen here. I've got a 6S Plus, so that's quite a big screen, which I found meant that it could take over from my elderly iPad. Curiosity got the better of me, and I did open the disclosure on my phone. I can't...
ways. So it's Cannon Street, so I've just left 100 Sherborne Street, which is where the motel is, and then up there's the BP, and that's the corner that I'm going to. So I'm just going to cross here. I tend to cross the road. My foible, one of my little foibles, is I always cross the road to the side of the road that my destination is as soon as I can. I feel really uncomfortable hanging on, so I will, I always want to be on the correct side of the street. So I cross over here. Now I was talking about an empty lot. I don't know if it is an empty lot. We'll come up and we'll just see. I just remember there being just sort of some grass and not much on the other side, and I'm pretty sure I was looking at I was looking at the Japanese restaurant. Now on the right up here, that brick building, you can see across the intersection. On the other side of that is the other Harcourt's building. That's a bit of a slant. Yes, I was walking along here. The op shop and that mall there. Home of Property Management is there as well. So Home of Property Management is not Harcourt's Real Estate Limited, and there is no such thing as Harcourt's Real Estate. I'm talking about legal entities, because that's when you're dealing with the law, you've got to be very precise, and you can't just let people claim to be people that you have not actually verified the identity of. I'm just finding the criminal court incompetent, and it just totally. This is how victims end up in prison, and criminals end up just roaming the streets, harming us, and using the courts to clobber us over the head. Oh, okay. So it's not a grassy lot. It wasn't this is what I was thinking of, I think. Is it recording? Yep, so I think this is what I was thinking of. And I don't know when I noticed Courtney, but I think it was probably around here. Now that's the NIA Harcourts, which I find that all are very big. It's a very, very convoluted business structure, company structure, I should say. It's you'd call it a corporation, I think. But that is Harcourts. I'm not saying that's where Courtney was going, but I remember coming up to here. Now that's the Edgware Village, that's the mall. I'd never gone on that side. That's the Japanese restaurant, that's a Thai restaurant. This was the lot I was thinking of, empty lot. It's not really an empty lot, it's a industrial yard. And I think it was about here where Courtney was crossing the road, because she walked out of here, I believe. And it was at about maybe a little bit back that I realised that was Courtney. And I just kept walking, so it might have been a wee bit back. I think what I was noticing was this at the time, that was in my mind's eye. So I think it was about here, and I think by the time I got here I could see that it was here. So I think she was taking a few steps in my direction, which would make sense if she was coming out of the back there as well. And yeah, I wasn't hoping she wouldn't see me, but I did not want any sort of mutual acknowledgement or I didn't want any eye contact or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that we didn't. She would have either been on her line of sight and long enough for her to have identified me as well. Because remember, they've got all my stuff on file, so my driver's license and all that. So I think she might have been crossing over there, that would make sense. Anyway, so by that time I passed her and I walked around the corner and here's the op shop, right? And there you see Harcourt St Albans, homeward my kind of people. Well, I don't know who wrote the sign, but whoever's kind of people they are, they're obviously not a very nice person. So they do share an entrance to Edgware Village, which is obviously a very old mall. And that's the entrance, and this is the op shop. And so I went in the op shop, and then very shortly after I saw Courtney in here. I do actually want to go in and talk to friends. And I stopped right on the button before I mentioned anyone's name. So I had a conversation with somebody in the mall. I ascertained that footage would have covered what had happened after I entered the op shop. We had a conversation about that. I have recently said to that person that I am really regret having to be this assertive, and it's not that it's what I want to do, and it's not generally in my nature, but it's more than a personal favour. It's actually for court, and I have asked that I realise the next thing I'm going to do is, because all that's going to I don't know if they have just the one camera or if there's several cameras. I don't know if they film the shop front. They might film the shop front, because that would, if they get the window smashed, I don't know. But anyway, I just use her judgment on that. But I'm also going to check with the City Council and see if they've got any CCTV on that corner, because that would show if Courtney just did a turnaround, and it would just be interesting to see what her behaviour was. Could be totally innocent, but I'm just, if I can get more data, I will get more data. I am really regret having to be this assertive, and it's not that it's what I want to do, and it's not generally in my nature, but it's more than a personal favour. It's actually for court, and I have asked that person to please make sure that that footage is withheld. One other thing that I had been going to do, and that's what I went into with one of my the other videos, and I just showed, I think, a flash of it of me in my green video, which was talking about what had happened on that same day. So what I've just shown you now was me doing what I intended to do the next day, which was to retrace my steps and see how my memory matched up with what I had latched onto in my memory, such as I felt that when I saw Courtney, I had seen, an empty lot. It wasn't an empty lot, but it was near enough an empty lot, for a subconscious to kind of pick up on, and so I think I got those angles quite correct. So what I had said to the person who had some stake in the mall, I'm not saying who it is, I had kept it very, very, very vague, with only enough information just to say that, just to express the importance of holding back that footage rather than letting it be deleted as it often is when it's CCTV kind of stuff, because I know from experience, including working in places, that people will record but they won't look back at the recordings unless there's any cause to do so, and then after say 2 or 3 or whatever weeks they nominate, the footage just gets deleted or it expires or something. And it's an external IT team that manages all that stuff. I didn't ask, I wasn't too nosy about it, but I did say, and I followed up with an email, and I just said, yes, please do hold that back. It is important, and I may need to get back to you. And I did get back to that person last night. This is not a matter of loyalty. Obviously, the loyalty would not be with me. I did not name names, but if this person had looked at the footage, they would probably see someone that they would prefer, whose testimony they'd prefer over mine. So it's not about that, it's about hard proof. And I suppose I better get a wriggle on and see if the City Council had captured anything from that intersection, because my feeling is that instead of actually going to where Courtney was going to go, I think that when she saw me, she decided that she was going to turn around and follow me. And she came into proximity with me. There could be an excuse made that she was just patrolling the area trying to keep her personnel safe, but there are any number of documentary, there'll be plenty of documentary evidence, direct and indirect, and plus circumstantial evidence that would just completely make a mockery of that. Anyway, that's enough said, but my intuitions were correct, and I make sure that I send this stuff to police because I want to show that this encounter was not a choice. I'm not hiding it. It's not a breach of bail. Nobody came to arrest me. No one responded. And actually, interestingly, it's very, very difficult to avoid anyone from Harcourts, and I don't look very closely into which kind of Harcourts they are. It's not Harcourts. They've made a category error on purpose. I think the police have, because it's not Harcourts. It's one particular person and the people that she employs, and it's not Harcourts. She's not licensed under Harcourts, so it's got nothing to do with Harcourts. But as I've said before, I do think that the manager of, or the owner of the company that she pretends to own, probably is pulling strings behind all of this and is probably paying to cover her, and even though she's not legally and in fact is probably illegally affiliated with his company, I expect there's a lot of benefits that accrue to him, and that he will protect her to carry on with. So when I signed a bail form being released from an illegal arrest and a illegal attempted charge from police, I think on the 19th, not the 19th, so the 9th, a month, when I was supposed to have been assessed by this nurse, which never happened. Quite the opposite. I was treated like fucking shit, medically treated like shit, and endangered when I was thrown out on the street with no shoes. Warm clothing and all of that, which I've spoken about. I think that it's all making a big picture, and I already know. I'm already pretty. It's like having a jigsaw. You get those jigsaw puzzles, and sometimes they're missing pieces, or sometimes you don't really see the picture on the front. Maybe the front's missing, so you don't really know what picture you're making, or but I'm pretty sure now what the picture on the box is, and every time I find a new puzzle piece, it generally tends to slot in, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm sure detectives and police can do this kind of work themselves, and I'm sure that they are. But they're doing it in order to conceal and to try to find a way around showing what they've discovered, whereas I'm just showing what I've discovered. I'm under quite a lot of duress from all directions at the moment, so I didn't get snappily onto asking the City Council to see if there was footage of this predator circling around to follow me with my little plastic trolley as I went to the op shop and then to Fresh Choice. I've shown you the trolley, I've shown my poverty, I've shown that I haven't properly shown. I forget what I've disclosed to police and what I've disclosed to YouTube, but I think I should disclose to YouTube, like I can't get to my storage unit without outlaying a fair amount of money, probably something in the vicinity of $60 or $80 or $100. So I didn't expect to still be kind of homeless in winter, so I don't have many winter clothes here, so I do have to go to the op shop, and I've been stocking up on, I've shown pictures of the things that I've been buying, and I've got trousers, and I've got some jumpers, and I bought a whole bunch of stuff from that $1 rag. And I have come to prefer that store, although it's more expensive than the one in Papanui. On the surface of it, because it's so business savvy, it just churns out the stock that's not selling. It doesn't let things stagnate, it just gets things out of the door. So that's how I got like 6 really amazing things for $2. And by really amazing, like, I'm not saying as beautiful as that sundress, I mean, winter stuff, because winters in Christchurch are something else. And long socks under sort of polypropylene kind of stuff. Did I get my silly hat from there with the ear flaps? I'm stocking up on stuff because I simply don't have enough winter clothing here. I've bought bedding, and on days, because of my fatigue, I want to go to Papanui, and I actually would prefer to go to Papanui because they have a whole bunch of op shops. it's a major difference in the trip that I'm taking. And I like going there, and I like having a chat with the locals and stuff like that. And uh, it's on my fucking street where I fucking live. Yeah, so yeah, cry bullies, cry bullies, cry bullies, and the judges that pull them onto their knee and pat their head and kiss their tears away.
You know, often in a marital separation, or you know, um, especially if kids are involved, one or other party has really had the raw end of the deal. I believe that it's mostly men, but it can be women as well. And I'm not taking sides in the gender war. It's not about male or female. It's about who's been abused by somebody else. And I just mentioned men because men overall get just less sympathy and trust than women do, so they end up just being bigger casualties. And men's rights activists and particularly and MGTOW are not men's rights activists. Well, not in its essence. MGTOW just means men going their own way, so they just like try and disengage from the female world as much as they can. They're not. A lot of them don't get the spirit of that, and they keep whining and whining and whining to women, and it's like, I thought you're going to go your own way, mate. But I can totally understand why men. If you've been abused, and I would assume a lot of MGTOW have been abused, so they've become MGTOW. Yeah, they're not pleasant people to deal with if you're a female. They don't trust anti-feminist women. They think we're fakers. They think we're the ultimate, like, evil seductresses, the Black Widows, pretending to be unicorns, which is the almost impossible to find decent woman. And I'm like, dude, I'm sympathetic, but this ain't my fucking thing. But you can understand why the justice system has turned men away from wanting to become involved with women and wanting to share property with them, and certainly wanting to have children with them. A lot of men that are tagged deadbeat dads, and there are deadbeat dads, that's for fucking sure, but a lot of them are just, they can't cope anymore, and they just have to walk away from their kids because fighting to see them and being accused of all sorts of things is too much for them to cope with. Especially when the mothers turn them against them. And I've heard both sides of some stories, and I'm not talking about necessarily being credulous about any party's story, which is awful for the traumatised party. It's just that I know the dangers of that paradox, like you don't want to challenge the beliefs of a traumatized victim, but you also don't want to support an abuser pretending to be the traumatized victim either. It's a real doozy, and the justice system is not built for handling that kind of thing. Real twisty, turny kind of, looks like a Mobius strip, that one. And the justice system hasn't even got around to basic understanding of the impacts of victimhood. And so a lot of people are just thrust into family court, lengthy family court disputes where they've got legal abuse, which can be financial abuse, but also just sitting there and facing their abuser and listening to, even just facing your abuser is a terrifying thing, even just seeing them, even seeing a picture of them. And I'm going into the same situation. There is no difference between family violence. There's all these attempts, as I've said, to rename family violence into a terminology with a definition that describes what it really is. And as I've said, they've missed the wood for the trees. It's really just anyone that you can't escape from in a sort of a domestic sort of scenario. And I think in a way they've kind of taken the wrong route by expanding it to mean family that you don't live with. Because I think the point of, it used to be called the Domestic Violence Act, and I think it was the something else. I think there's something about domestic abuse that's very special for victims, and not special in a good way, and it's because it's happening in your home and you can't escape. And I think that can be expanded to people who make you lose your home, because that's a horrible abuse, and that's what my victimisers have done to me. They were abusing me in my home, and they abused me by making me homeless. And making someone homeless doesn't just mean that they can go and move somewhere else. It means that now all of a sudden they have a gap in their demonstrable reputation. And they've basically destroyed my ability to have a home, which is a very, 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 very serious conglomeration of offences.
Are you autistic and get accused of being paranoid? There might be a reason for that. The autistic brain is incredibly good at noticing patterns, not just in numbers or geometric patterns, but patterns in day-to-day interactions and life. If you combine this with a lifetime of trauma, what we can start to see is the patterns that repeat themselves throughout our life. We might be more attuned to noticing if a situation is unsafe or potentially difficult. So we might notice things that other people would see as unrelated, but be able to connect the dots between them and see that they have the potential to have a negative impact on us. This can run away and become unhealthy for us, but we can't ignore the fact that often autistic people aren't paranoid. They have just seen the same patterns play out in human behaviour over and over again throughout their life. And it's important that we validate the fact that those fears that we are calling paranoia might come from very real things.
Can't fuck around with those things, and they have. But I know this from the past, what happened to me in Wellington with the corrupt cops. But it's just too much. Like a whole cascade of things happens when I open. That video that I filmed when I ventured out, as I really wanted to venture out into St Albans and back to closer where I used to live and walk and see Tommy the cat, and my trauma video from that, and then the recovery video. Like, that was just so intense. And part of being back here is just giving myself a bit of exposure treatment. Not too much, not too little, and it was a really big deal for me to first go to that op shop. you know, in the same building that, you know, Homewood Property Management is in. But there's other things in there too. There are restaurants and stuff. Like it's a mall. You know, it's not. You know, but you know, there's not really. I can't go into the shop without passing, and you know, and I'm just. I don't like going that way. And if I ever have to go to the shop, you know, the Fresh Choice little supermarket, I'll never go that way. I always take the longer way. And if I get on the bus, I'll get off the bus in a way that I walk through behind it and back. But I like going to that op shop, and then other times, if I catch the bus from the BP station to go to Papanui, I make myself go there now because it's a long enough walk as it is from home. And there's not a hell of a lot of point in going to catch the bus. In a awkward place, because I can't get off with my supermarket stuff at an awkward place. You see my video the other day getting off the bus, and you know, like really taking a lot out of me to carry things back in a trolley and stuff. And I have been getting deliveries, but I can't afford those all the time. And so I've been adjusting. You know, I've been trying to like do a bit of like. I mean, I'm not. I went through a lot of trauma readjusting to living in St Albans. It's a very emotional process for me to leave the place that I had so much trauma leaving, because I loved my home and my neighbourhood so much, and also the trauma of what was done to me here. And I put in a lot of effort to adjust and adapt again, and to perform my own trauma therapy by slowly exposing myself to my old neighbourhood and something bittersweet but intensified by 1,000. This is my neighbourhood. This is my neighbourhood. They don't own this neighbourhood. This is my neighbourhood. We share it. All of us share it. And I'm a good neighbour, and I'm a good community member. And they act like I'm stalking them.
You really, really, really got to love city councils, don't you? What does it say? Site access in 100 metres. It's really good to know, isn't it? For a week or 2 weeks it was lying on the ground, and it was like in a really awkward position over the footpath, and I dragged it. It was really freaking heavy. I dragged it because it was partly on the road. I dragged it onto at least the siding. It was like that for a couple of weeks. I don't know what these clowns think they're doing. Hello, bub. Yeah. Hello. Maybe everyone's got a beef with the orange cat. I have not seen you before. Okay, honey. Well, you're in 102. Very cute. Very cute. Bye-bye, honey. I'm gonna go now. I hope you have a nice evening. Bye. Bye. It's definitely not. Oh, you're so cute. I don't even know where you live. Do you live there, or did you just run into the car? I'll see you later. Bye. Bye, baby. Hi there. Yeah, so, I don't have to look at my face anymore. There's no reason to always look at my face. It's such a nice walk. Anyway, while this woman and I were talking, she said we don't have a body corporate. And I said, if they're unit titled, you have to have a body corporate. And she said, oh, they're not unit titled, they're freehold. And she said she's a real estate agent, so I guess she knows. I'm really confused about what that means in an apartment block. I must look it up. Yeah, anyway, we were talking about neighbourhood support, and, she was really concerned about it too. And I told her my story about how it happens at Christmas time and stuff, and, seeing, Christmas cards to Nana just discarded, people looking for cash, and she said, yeah, it's just every day. It's like people are just doing the rounds like every day. And she says she's filed a police report, but I said, yeah, cops aren't going to do anything. I was talking about neighbourhood support or something. And she was talking about security cameras, so I said, try ring cam, so I put it on today. She was really happy about that because it seems like suitable for a flash apartment block with multiple devices connected. And then we had a bit of a gripe about how people in, communal living spaces like that, I mean, they're not communal as in you're living in the same house, but you're sharing the grounds, just how people, there are slakers and there are people who just get too demoralised to keep trying. And, sometimes it's better just to stop fighting unwinnable battles and just ruining your whole fucking life, pushing shit uphill. And she agreed. And I said, you know, I think that some people are just really slack and they just take a free road, and others, and I said, I think some other people just give up because they've already been to the battle and they're not keen to do it anymore. And I was talking about, you know, pride of place, and I said, you know, about broken window policing, it's that same concept. And she was like, yeah. And I said, yeah, so basically Imogen is kind of like affecting all of you by, you know, like she's casting a bit of a pall over the place by showing that she doesn't care, because it just creates a bit of a target, because people don't usually, you know, burglars do, they certainly do target places where they expect to find a lot of expensive stuff, but they also target places where it looks like people don't care. And the thing is, a lot of people who don't have pride of place do have a lot of flash equipment as well, because you know, there are all sorts. There are good rich people, bad rich people, good poor people, bad poor people, you know, and it's the ones that bring the tone down for everybody, that puts everybody in danger. But look at this lovely, and I have to stop and take a photo.